So my name is Kershani Chetty. I'm a lecturer in hydrology at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. I'm also the operations manager of the Center for Water Resources Research. By profession, I'm a hydrologist. It's quite a unique field, and it's a field that gives you a good dynamic of everything that revolves around water and the environment. That includes everything above and below ground, and we therefore are part of earth sciences, we're part of agricultural sciences, we're part of engineering sciences. So with hydrological modeling, first of all, a hydrological model is a set of algorithms which are put together in some sort of computer format, and software is developed around it, and you have a whole lot of physical inputs that you put into the model which will mimic a real world situation. So South Africa, for example, is a water scarce country, and we are prone to floods and droughts. One of the important ways in which we use hydrological models is, for example, if we want to do flood prediction, or what we call design flood hydrology, where we work with various people from engineering disciplines to municipalities, etc. And we are able to provide analysis, data, information on what predictions can happen, what our flood inundation areas are going to be like. So you can see that there's a lot of unpredictability and variability in our climate, and that could be attributed to global change. And these models then help us to plan and manage and mitigate against all the impacts of our changing climate. So, for example, with biofuels, there's several components to it. So the one component would be selecting the crop for biofuels. And in that way, you would first have to understand, is this crop good enough? How much of water this crop uses, because its water footprint is going to be very important in becoming a sustainable biofuel. And then obviously comes the growing component, where the agriculturalists will come into play. And then comes the chemical component, where extractions have to take place. So we have various people, from chemists to agricultural engineers, bioresources engineers, environmental engineers, water resources engineers, and hydrologists, all playing a role. Now, in order to, for example, map the biofuels, like where are these crops growing, we can use satellite Earth observation data sets, we can use drone technology to map them, look at the extent, but we can use satellites and Earth observations to estimate how much of water they use. So as a hydrologist, if you're doing a typical water resources study, you're not alone. You're working usually in a team with other hydrologists. You'll be working with agrometeorologists, meteorologists, climatologists, data scientists. We also need to create new methodologies and algorithms, and our mathematicians and our computer scientists come into play in that regard. The other components is the actual catchment that we're working with has crops in it, it has people in it. We work a lot with the social sciences and look at social hydrology, which is a very new and emerging technology now, where citizens are coming to play as well, and that's called citizen science. I grew up in Pietermaritzburg in the suburb of Raesthorpe, and I went to a public school which initially was built by my grandparents and surrounding families who felt that education was so important and they needed to invest. Life threw me some curveballs, I must be honest. I didn't plan on being a hydrologist. I wanted to be a pharmacist. However, I didn't take up the opportunities because I lost my sister in my matric year, that I decided that I was going to stay in Pietermaritzburg. I got accepted for a BSc in chemistry. Chemistry is close enough to pharmacy, but in any case, it's a general science degree, and there's so many opportunities to branch out into other careers. I could even be a pilot. So I started my journey in sciences in that way. So my advice to young girls these days is you can always move forward from where you are. no experience that you've had and no subjects or years that you've spent studying something get to waste, because everything is about life. Well, life is about lifelong learning.